I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
This is American Sunrise Early Editions. Here are the headlines that matter. First, there's a lot unfolding right now. Glad to have you with you on this Friday, but here's what's driving the day. A national security warning: China creating American citizens on purpose. Born here, raised abroad, coming back, and it's all by design. Author Peter Schweitzer in On the Invisible Coup. That's coming up in a few. Meanwhile, a major immigration sweep in the Midwest. More than 4,000 criminal illegal immigrants arrested in Minneapolis. The White House is taking a victory lap, citing murderers, rapists, gang members, and terror suspects taken off the streets. Democrats blamed, and the president praised the political firestorm ahead. Meanwhile, a sharp drop in the crypto markets, Bitcoin falling below 67,000, its lowest level since last November. Key support has been broken on this. Investor confidence shaken. Questions growing about Bitcoin's role as a store of value and inflation hedge that could 60,000 be next? The warning signs next. All of this straight ahead on American Sunrise Early Edition that starts right now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition, the show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
You people and others like you built this country.
Join us as we break down the stories that matter.
FAFO. If you don't know, now you know.
American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice starts now.
All right, happy Friday, everybody. We'll get to those headlines. But first, joining us now for today's forecast is Weather Nation's Tracy Anthony. Tracy, good morning. And for all of you watching right now, do you see at the bottom of your screen, scan that QR code to join the Weather Nation family. Now, even better, your hometown forecast awaits you. So head on over to the Real Americans Voice chats on Getter, Rumble, and YouTube. And in the 9 o'clock hour of American Sunrise, if you are selected, we'll deliver your hometown forecast live for you. So be a part of the fun and the action right here on Weather Nation. Well, Tracy, it's Super Bowl Sunday. I would imagine lots of the eyes are focused on what's the weather going to be like in San Francisco. But also, man, you guys are still crawling out of some cold weather down there in the deep South.
Yeah, you know, waking up this morning in South Florida, it's still so cold. Temperatures down close to 30, or the wind chill definitely in the 30s. So still very cold across the East Coast. We do have some snow that's going to work across the Northeast, and an atmospheric river on deck for the West. So California all the way up to Washington, going to be getting some isolated rain showers here as we move into the weekend. So we'll see that atmospheric river pump in some more moisture. But the central parts of the country, relatively calm and quiet, so most of the snow will be focused across the Northeast. By the end of the weekend for the big game, heading out to Santa Clara, California, pretty nice weather. We're talking 60s with a mix of sun and clouds. The good news is the rain is going to be on the low side by the time of the game. So should have some nice tailgate weather as well. But this is that forecast pattern, or this is the weather pattern that we've been locked in for the last couple of days, where you've got this big dip here that brings that Arctic air. Things are going to be changing into next week. So finally, we're going to get some relief across the Northeast from the brutal cold temperatures as we move into more of a zonal flow with that jet stream pattern. So really from coast to coast, a lot of us are expecting temperatures to be trending above average for this time of year. So that is the light at the end of the tunnel you got to look for. And I know that the manatees here in West Palm Beach are going to be thrilled with some warmer temperatures, because when it's cold like this, they have to find warm spots. And this is a look at Manatee Lagoon, where manatees flock because it's right next to a power plant and it pumps out warm water as they produce energy. So kind of a fun thing to see here on chilly mornings, Brian, in Florida.
Yeah, I bet those manatees are enjoying it for sure. All right.
Oh, yeah, the sea cows, they're the best.
The sea cows. All right. Well, once again, don't forget to scan that QR code, get your hometown forecast, and hopefully Tracy Anthony delivers it for you on this beautiful Friday. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a few.
Sounds good.
All right, let's check out today's Bible verse. Matthew 11:28-29 says, "Come to me, all of you labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Good stuff there on this Friday. All right, let's turn to our top story. An illegal biological lab hidden inside Las Vegas garage, operated by Chinese nationals with ties to the CCP. We've been talking about this all week. Now, the latest, a police source says they entered and left, quote, deathly ill. Court records detail guns, passports, vials of unknown liquids. Now, Senator Ron Johnson is calling this a national security nightmare. A court hearing just hours away for the property manager at the center of this case. And joining us now is Jennifer Van Laar, an investigative journalist with Red State Town Hall. Jennifer, what is most concerning to you about this case? We talked about this, and this seems like a movie. Like, how many more of these biological labs are there across this country? But what's concerning you right now about this?
What's most concerning me is that the feds have known about this place in Vegas for at least 2.5 years. The man who owns it was arrested in 2023 because he operated that biolab, the illegal biolab in Reedley, California, that everyone's probably remembering that they heard about. And in court records there, he offered to put this Las Vegas address up as collateral for bond. So we've known that he had this home. He lived there with his wife, who had a baby right before he was arrested. The wife took off for China. She is also a fugitive. She has been indicted for this case in Reedley. So why was this place not looked at until now? Why did it take people calling in to the FBI or getting sick for officials to look at this? And officials in Vegas say they had no idea that this was even happening. There was no coordination, no communication among the agencies. There's another home in Central California that he owns. There's multiple townhouses in Las Vegas. There's places in Orange County and San Diego County, California. I think all of those places need to be searched ASAP.
Yeah, I agree. And when you think back what's happened in the last couple of years, especially under the Biden administration, they were going after, J6ers that walked on the Capitol, took a selfie, went home. They were raiding their homes, making sure they locked all of them up. But yet you have this. And this is very concerning. Like, you take all of the foreign conflicts off the board right now, all the conflicts in Iran, Gaza, remove all of that. I promise you, the American people are more concerned that we don't have Chinese biolabs in our neighborhoods.
Yes, we are. And I went by this place on Monday, and I've had swollen glands since I went there and was in the front yard of this home in Vegas. I'm hoping that it's just a coincidence, but there, like you said, there were ladies who went in to clean the house. They were using it as an Airbnb. And this property manager was sending the funds to the guy who's in jail, who's awaiting trial in April. And these women that went to clean the house got deathly ill so bad they couldn't get out of bed the next day.
You know, especially this is coming off of COVID and all of the, all the theories originally that came from a wet market, then it came from the Wuhan lab. Did we learn anything about potential, viruses being, mishandled and just maybe intentionally put into our society and our communities to get us sick? Did we not learn anything? So who is to blame right now? Like, who do we point fingers at and say, why is this crap happening? And why isn't anybody in jail or should have been in jail a long time ago?
Right. Well, I think we go back to the Biden CDC for so many things and the FBI. In the Reedley lab, they are only charging this man for distributing counterfeit COVID-19 and pregnancy tests because the CDC refused to test things that were labeled as HIV, as COVID-19. They had a freezer labeled Ebola, and the CDC said because there wasn't a specific vial labeled Ebola that they didn't have jurisdiction to test any of it.
Yeah, this is just an amazing. That's one of the stories that you're working on right now. Meanwhile, there is a new crackdown with J.D. Vance taking shape to lead the task force targeting all this fraud in California right now. The massive welfare fraud, all of the stuff that's beyond, it's beyond comprehension how much stuff has gone down in California. You take the hospice fraud, the welfare fraud, just all of the illegal benefits.
Almost a fraud.
Yeah, what is going on in this country that we're seeing so much waste, fraud, and abuse? But it's being discovered by journalists like ourselves. We're the ones that are discovering it. But here's the bigger question here: will there be accountability for any of this stuff?
I hope there will be. It's going to take so many years to get this to trial. It's going to clog up our federal courts, but I welcome that because we need it. If we don't do that, our grandchildren will be living in a completely different society and have zero opportunities like we've had in our lives.
Yeah. Could you take a look at if J.D. Vance has been in charge of this task force, if you will, this unofficial task force to take on the waste, fraud, and abuse that's in California? I think that sets him up in a particular situation where he's taking on Gavin Newsom and exposing the fraud and the abuse in his state, because on the bigger picture, you fast forward to 2028, you have these two individuals, which might likely be the two end up, candidates for president. So this is a little bit of political posturing as well.
It is, but in California, it's amazing how much the economy is still somewhat decent, despite everything that's going on with it. California could really lead our nation if we got rid of all of this waste and fraud and abuse.
Yeah, it is the fifth largest economy in the country. Now, I know that we've got record people moving out, but then people move in. It's got the allure of California and the weather, and I think a lot of young people move out there and they later found out they want to build any kind of sizable wealth. They've got to kind of go out. Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. If people want more information on all of your stuff that you're working on, what's the best website for that?
At redstate.com.
There you go. Jennifer, thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thanks, you too.
All right, coming up, a new crackdown is starting to take shape. Like we said, Vice President J.D. Vance is tapped to lead a task force targeting massive welfare fraud in California and beyond, and an executive order is expected to come in the next following days. Who's in the crosshairs and what comes next? That's ahead as we go into Real America's this weekend. Just released a new powerful song called The Boss. It's by Natasha Owens of Somali Waltz. You remember her? Folks, go download it right now. Let's drive it to number one. Take a listen.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music, the label built to amplify unapologetically American voices. The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. Not the elites, not the gatekeepers, but the people. Now it's your turn. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
Download The Boss tonight at midnight. Let's do this together.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
Followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
Good morning. Welcome back. That is a beautiful shot from the Washington Monument, looking back in D.C. right now. Good cold shot. Rather cold here still. All right. Welcome back to American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Here's this morning's headlines. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to take on a new role of leading a federal task force focused on welfare fraud. President Donald J. Trump is expected to sign this executive order any day. This will formally put Vance in charge. This task force will zero in on fraud cases in California and other states, including a multi-billion-dollar scheme like the child care fraud, hospice, and homeless fraud that we've been discovering. We've also been reporting on that all week. Now, the administration officials say the aim is simple: to get taxpayer money back, close the loopholes, and prosecute, and this is the more important thing, their perpetrators. Next, the White House says more than 4,000 criminal illegal immigrants have been arrested in Minneapolis. Now, the arrests are part of a federal operation that officials say those taken into custody include violent offenders, gang members, and other felons. The administration says the operation is working. Democrats disagree. The White House says the sweeps will continue. And on to the Bay Area. San Francisco spends nearly $1 billion annually on homelessness. Now, the result is more homelessness. The homeless industrial complex is what we talk about, is in action. Now, days before the Super Bowl, the city has cleaned up, no official sweeps, but the homelessness, the drug addicts, are out of sight. For the cameras after the Super Bowl, well, the homeless will come back. Once again, the great city polished for the show. neglect otherwise. This is all one big cleanup there. Joining us now is Tom Del Beccario. He's the former chairman of the California Republican Party and current chairman of Californians for Election Fairness. Good morning. So let's talk about California real quickly. This is what they do. They'll clean up around the Super Bowl. They don't solve the problem. They just clean it up briefly so that when the cameras and the tourists come in, they see a very beautiful San Francisco. But when the cameras are off, the homeless are back.
Yeah, absolutely. If you remember several years back when Xi Jinping visited San Francisco, they threw a parade for him. And where they threw it was a very bad homeless area. So they cleaned it up, moved them 2 or 3 blocks over, kept sort of guard around them. And then after the parade, which was a disgrace in and of itself, that you would do that for a communist dictator, they migrated back to where they were before. So San Francisco has a history of doing this. San Francisco is making progress, though, on its crime and other homelessness issues under the new mayor, Daniel Lurie, but it still has a long way to go.
Okay, when you look at the election, I know that you're chairman of the Californians for Election Fairness. Where are we at in California? I know that we're trying to get the SAVE Act, which makes it, you got to show a photo ID to vote. Seems logical. Most Republicans, most Democrats agree. What's the chances of that happening in California?
Well, there is going to be a voter ID initiative that is going to be on the ballot. It'll be on the ballot this fall. Even in California, there's 70+% approval rating of this voter ID idea. Not everybody knows exactly what's in the initiative, but it is even very popular in California. 60+% of Democrats approve it. So I think there's a very good chance that it will be approved.
Okay. When it comes to crime, I know that's one of the things that bigger cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles have been battling for quite some time. Where do you see that? What is the state of the criminal activity in San Francisco, in Los Angeles? Has that state got any safer? And if not, what can be done to, in fact, protect those that live in your beautiful state?
Well, this has to do with, it depends on the mayor in charge. Karen Bass versus Lurie. Lurie in San Francisco has what he says are progressive values were overrun by a lack of common sense. And so car break-ins are at a 22-year low. Car break-ins were an incredibly serious problem in San Francisco that was hurting tourism and everything else. Crime is down in San Francisco because he is making some common sense changes. Now, that doesn't mean San Francisco is per se safe and everything's okay, but he is making progress there. LA is a completely different story. Karen Bass, who is immersed now in a scandal over her changing of a official report to lie about Palisades. LA is still a very bad place when it comes to homelessness, crime, and all of these issues. It'll never be changed under her because she has no business running a lemonade stand. She has no executive capacity. And so it's a tale of two cities, north and south, and you ask what should be done. The Californians overwhelmingly passed in 2024 something called Prop 36, which ratcheted up penalties for what you see right now on the TV and otherwise. But Gavin Newsom refused to fund it. So the answer is Gavin Newsom needs to move on, and someone needs to come in for advocating funding for it. That'll really depend who becomes governor.
Yeah, and you got a very heated race for governor this year. Tom, thank you so much for getting up early with us on this Friday morning. All eyes will be on your great state, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.
All right, take care.
All right, before we go, a quick word from one of our sponsors, Artillery Tea Company, the only America First veteran-owned tea brand. Their mission, maximize flavor, whole leaf tea blends, and chemical-free tea bags. No junk, just real tea. And here's the tactical advantage. Each bag brews twice. Just go to Artillery Tea company CO and put in RAV for 10% off your first order. Information's on your screen there. ArtilleryTCO.com. Premium tea, mission-driven, brewed for the brave. All right. Well, this Saturday night, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got something special for you. We kick off things. We're Taking Back the Charts, a documentary that looks at how music industry has changed and how America First artists are pushing back with Real America's music. And then we go live for Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show, a pro-America performers, a celebration of family, faith, and freedom on sports' biggest nights. Love it. All right, coming up, Bitcoin is in a massive sell-off right now and a ransom demand tied to Savannah Guthrie's mother. Why criminals use Bitcoin and why the markets are dumping it. All of that straight ahead after the break. Stick around.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just...
All right, we're rocking our way into this Friday. Beautiful shot there. I don't know who the band is right now. I need to probably brush up on my... Sounds like my... Ted Nugent. There you go. Thank you. From the music gurus in the studio. Welcome back to America's Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn, and that is Ted Nugent. Let's head over to the Denver newsroom for the latest headlines with Terrance Bates. Terrance, happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you, sir. Good morning. I am happy that it is Friday. So look, Brian, I don't know if you realize this or not, but the Winter Olympics opening ceremony gets underway today in Milan, Italy. On Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance met with members of Team USA to encourage them. Here's some of that interaction.
You can tell by the ratings from the Olympics. You can tell by the fact that it really brings the country together. Everybody is rooting for you guys, and everybody's cheering for you. We're so excited to be here. This has been the highlight of my time as vice president, to get to come to bring my family to root for the Olympic team. But let me just say personally, like I'm amazed by the combination of excellence, sacrifice, and so I hope that you guys enjoy it.
The country's second in charge, following in the footsteps, Brian, of his predecessors Joe Biden in 2010 and Mike Pence in 2018. However, the caveat, former Vice President Kamala Harris, did not attend the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing because the Biden administration, you probably remember, launched a diplomatic boycott of those games over human rights concerns in China. Is this a patriotic games? Like, do you see the Olympics, be it summer or winter? Quite honestly, I typically forget about the Winter Olympics Olympics, but do you see these games being kind of a patriotic event, an event that brings us all together as Americans?
They used to. When you had Olympic, American Olympians that actually appreciated this country and didn't use it for some kind of grandstanding for whatever cause. I'm not into the Olympics at all. I could care less. It is not a ratings. People don't watch it. There's a reason why. Look, I don't want to get on my Olympic rant, but I wish every American athlete well, but I just don't watch it.
Okay. I'm a Summer Olympics guy. I'm not going to lie to you, Brian. I'm a track and field guy. I'm a basketball guy. Love to follow Team USA. Winter Olympics, I just didn't grow up with winter sports like that. I've skied a couple of times. It's cool. Ice skating, I guess I watched a little bit with my mom. But I'm hopeful. Let me put it that way, Brian. I'm hopeful that the USA team will do well and that it will bring us together as a country that we'll all have something to cheer about. I'm hopeful, Brian. Let's put it that way. Here's another story that I've been watching, Brian. President Trump's Trump accounts, those are those accounts for newborns and young children. Well, they're continuing to gain more private support. The latest company to join the effort is Wall Street company Citi. Citi says that it's going to match the federal government's initial $1,000 seed money for its U.S.-based employees. Eligible accounts will be for kids who were born between January 1st of last year and December 31st of 2028. In its notes to employees, Citi writes, and this is a quote, Brian, "These accounts are intended to promote long-term savings from a young age and provide children with investment assets that will grow over time. We're excited to play an active role in supporting the financial well-being of families across the United States." And I think this is such a great idea from the Trump administration to really encourage investment from a family's perspective in kids. And I'm glad that some of these companies like Citi, hopefully others, will continue to join in and offer more seed money or offer support, matching funds, that kind of thing to kids. It's almost like a 401k for kids who are newborn, which I just think it's awesome. I'm all about saving, as I've told you before. I'm cheap, AKA a fiscal conservative. So this is a great way to kind of promote saving and promote investment in our kids.
I 100% agree. And also family members can contribute to this as well. So as a kid has birthdays, what better way to say happy birthday is to dump some money in their Trump account. I agree. All right, Terrance, have a fantastic Friday. Our viewers can see you on the top of the hour in American Sunrise. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. Bitcoin is front and center right now, an alleged ransom note related to the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. The demand, multi-millions paid in Bitcoin, all sent to a specific digital wallet. All the happenings as Bitcoin plunges. And it's raising some new questions about crypto being used as a safe haven. Joining us now is Scott Shalady, host of Cal Guy Close on RFD TV. Scott, I probably mispronounced your last name, and I apologize. We could be talking about this in a break. Sorry about that. First question, why is Bitcoin so attractive in these ransom cases like this?
Well, it's been some weird cases. It's all suddenly jumps that into just plain old ransom cases. The mad little behavior search filed that upwards 90%.
Let's pause on that real quick. Scott's got some audio issues. Terrance, if you're there, I'll have you jump back on when we get those audio issues cleared up with Scott. But when you saw this story and you found out it was linked to Bitcoin, did that raise any questions or concerns?
You know, I'm still old school, so anything related to Bitcoin makes me a little uneasy, just in general, and it raises red flags. I have to admit to you, I have friends who have invested in Bitcoin who are kind of at the front of the Bitcoin train and have done very well. And I'm sure many of us know people who, have invested pennies and come back with tens of dollars from their Bitcoin and kind of crypto investments. But anything related to Bitcoin or to crypto still makes me uneasy. And when I hear these sorts of stories, I'm always cautious. It gives me hope. It gives me pause, Brian.
I am too, and I think the other question, the other concern here, obviously, is not the Bitcoin crash; it's the disappearance of Savannah's mother, Nancy. I know that our hearts go out to you, to her family. This is such a mystery of what happened, and was there a ransom note? There was, I know, there a text message. I think they arrested someone that was a part of sending a text message for this ransom. It's just so many unanswered questions, Terrance, but we'll continue to pray.
Here's one of the bigger unanswered questions on this whole thing, Brian, and I was talking to a gentleman about this yesterday. There is this supposed ransom note. If you listen to the family's message, the family posted maybe 2 days ago now, kind of this message basically saying that, yes, we've heard of a ransom note that's been reported on. If you're going to take someone's loved one, if you're going to kidnap or abduct someone, one would think that you would send a ransom note directly to that family. No? And if you listen to it, and it's very clear, Savannah is saying in this post, yeah, we've heard of. One would think that if your loved one had been abducted, you wouldn't have just heard of it. It would have been sent directly to you. It would be very clear that someone wants a ransom from you, the family. That gives me pause. I have questions. It doesn't make sense to me. It's as the math teacher would say, it's incongruent.
Incongruent. Well, Terrance, we appreciate you weighing in on that. And of course, we will see you on the other side of the top of the hour. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, a warning about American citizenship. China creating American citizens on purpose. And it's all by design. Peter Schweitzer ahead. Stick around.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rev has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just...
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
All right, welcome back, America's Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, before we get into our things, a quick word from one of our sponsors, the Birch Gold Group. Now, international disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons why gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years, and never-ending list of reasons smart Americans Diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with the Birch Gold Group. Now, more than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during uncertainty, which is why it's crucial to be a part of, have a balanced strategy, and it gives you a peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you convert an existing IRA into a gold-backed IRA. Just text the words America to 989898 to receive your free information kit. There's no obligation, just useful information. They've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers. Let the Birch Gold Group help you diversify with gold so you can have a peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text America to 989898. That is the Birch Gold Group. Do that today. Very important. All right. Well, this morning, new warnings about China and birthright citizenship, concerns that Beijing is exploiting the U.S. law by sending Chinese elites here to have children who could later return as American citizens. All of this in a new book, The Invisible Coup. The author, Peter Schweitzer, joins us now. Peter, welcome to the show this morning. This is disturbing that this trend continues, and how this has got to hurt not only our national security, but it's also got to hurt the interests of this country in general.
Yeah, exactly right. Good morning. It's the fact that they're exploiting it, but it's also the scale at which they're doing it. So beginning in 2011, the Chinese Communist Party began encouraging members of the Chinese elite to travel to the United States with their pregnant wives, give birth in the United States, then return to China where the child would be raised. And they are now U.S. citizens, at least according to the interpretation of birthright citizenship that has been the predominant one over the last 50 years. In terms of scale, our federal government has no idea what the numbers are because we don't track it. When there's a birth certificate issued in the United States, it does not list the nationality of the parents. But the Chinese government and Chinese research firms have looked at this, and the numbers are eye-popping. They say over the last 13 years, every single year, roughly 100,000 Chinese babies have been born in the United States, are being raised in China. You do the math, that's more than 1 million quote-unquote U.S. citizens that are being raised in China. And when they turn 18, they're going to be able to vote, donate to political campaigns, they're going to be able to apply for sensitive government jobs, et cetera. So it's a massive national security breach.
I was going to say, what's the end game in all of this? Just to shift public policy. We've seen the Chinese biolabs come out of Las Vegas. I don't know if any of that is a part of what we're talking about. But what is the end game of all of this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Look, anytime you have a government that is encouraging its citizens to seek dual citizenship, they're doing that because they see that there's some benefit or gain from it. And the benefit of gain, is potentially enormous. Think about presidential elections. The 2016 election was settled by 72,000 votes. If you've got 1 million people in China, let's say they turn 18 and they start coming to the United States on student visas. They've now set up residency in American states, and they can vote in those states. So voting is certainly an aspect of it, but also government jobs. You can't, as a foreign national, apply for a sensitive government job. You certainly can as a U.S. citizen. So it's hard to know all the different ways in which this could be exploited. But the fact is, the Chinese government has encouraged it. It's happening on a massive scale, and it really allows them to basically get the camel's nose under the tent, and they can do all sorts of damage once they're here. Because remember, these are quote-unquote American citizens who are growing up in communist China. With that education system, with that social system, they have literally no attachment to the United States whatsoever, other than the fact that their parents traveled here and they were born, and then they were shuttled back to China.
Okay, Peter, let's put our political lens on just for a second. Which political party is for this, and which political party would like to end birthright citizenship? Pretty easy answer, I think.
Yeah, certainly President Trump has been pushing to end birthright citizenship, or at least this extreme version of it, because literally right now, if you essentially as a pregnant woman touch your toe across the border into the United States and give birth, that child is an automatic U.S. citizen, even if they don't raise the child here. That seems absurd on its face, and I think that's an 80-20 issue. Democrats thus far have been resistant to changing birthright citizenship, and I think they've done a political calculation that by and large, foreign nationals, when they first have the opportunity to vote, they vote roughly 85% for Democrats. Now, over time, that may even out, but that takes 20 to 30 years. So that's a huge electoral advantage for Democrats as it relates to birthright citizenship.
Okay, so President Trump is for it. We've got the House. We've got the majority in the Senate. What can be done within this administration to reverse this? Is it possible? Do you see that happening?
It's a great question. So the Supreme Court is taking up the issue of President Trump's executive order to effectively end birthright citizenship. The court may come back and say, look, you can't end it, but you can put constraints on it. In that case, it's going to be up to Congress and the administration to pass legislation. So, for example, birthright citizenship, if you have lived in the United States for a significant period of time and you were born here, maybe you can be granted citizenship. But again, what the Chinese are doing is an industrial scale exploitation of this law. And I can't imagine there are very many people, expressing common sense who are going to say this is a good idea. So it's going to depend on what the Supreme Court says. And I think there's going to be then an opening for at least the executive branch or the legislative branch to limit and restrict it. And they need to work on this, I think, very, very quickly before the midterms, because if the Democrats take any house, like the House of Representatives, they're going to block this. They are not going to vote to limit it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, last question. Are there any other countries that are abusing this? I know China is kind of the easier one to see, but does anyone else, one majority country, follow this trend?
Well, there are all sorts of countries that are doing this. It's not as organized as it is in China. Certainly in the case of Mexico, Russia, there are a lot of people from Russia, a lot of Middle Eastern countries. The problem is this industry called birth tourism, and that's basically companies in these foreign countries in the United States that get paid a fee to arrange for the parents to come to the United States, often advising them to lie on visas, say they're coming as a tourist, not for medical procedure, and then they arrange the medical procedure here to give birth. So we need to shut down the birth tourism industry in general, because that will deal not only with China, but also with these other countries as well.
Peter, there was a stat I read just yesterday that Frisco, Texas, just a suburb north of Dallas, has 33% of the people who live in Frisco are from India, which is only about 1% of the nationwide population, but 33% of the population there in Frisco, Texas. That almost seems like this could have some type of playbook that the Chinese are doing. I don't know why so many of them moved to Frisco.
Well, it's a great point you make, because here's the thing. The baby is born in the United States, goes back to, say, China, is raised there, comes back, is a U.S. citizen. Guess what? They can now sponsor their parents and their siblings to get permanent resident status in the United States. They can later sponsor them to apply for citizenship. So this chain migration, or these anchor babies, as they're sometimes called, is a real issue. So certainly India is doing this. Pretty much any country around the globe in some form or another is engaging in this kind of behavior. And the problem is, it used to be 50, 100 years ago that immigrants wanted to assimilate. They now really don't. Foreign governments certainly don't want them to. A lot of NGOs don't want them to. So the notion of coming here and adopting American values and becoming American is something that's becoming distant, at least for a sizable portion of immigrants. And that is how you get fracturing and you get a dissolution of countries, when you lose that bond, that glue that holds them together. So it's a real problem for the future of the country.
All right, the great Peter Schleicher joining us. Can you stick around a little bit after the break and hang with us for the rest of the show?
Unfortunately, I can't. I've got another media hit, but I'd love to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. And where can people find your book? Website.
You can go to Amazon, any big bookstores. We're #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. You should be able to find it anywhere.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend, Peter.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. All right, now another word for one of our great sponsors, Terrance. I love these guys. It's an organic skincare brand called Terrance. It has been turning heads recently in Elle Magazine, Cosmopolitan, LA Weekly to date. They've helped over 60,000 women fall in love with their skin, their complexion. Terrance delivers clean, organic skincare without harsh preservatives. Their Cellular Restore Serum features a gentle alternative to retinol called Bacasol. I probably said that wrong. A small focus group, 92.9% of women saw fewer wrinkles on their skin just after 3 weeks applying this serum. Their cellular hydration serum contains mushroom, which hydrates the deepest layers of the skin better than anything. And it gives you lift and glow on organic clean if you want to lighten the appearance of darker under eye circles and restore a radiant complexion. You'll love Lift and Glow. Finally, they have a glow serum. This serum features a plum, which delivers 100 times more concentration than vitamin C, than oranges, and even Glow works wonders reducing dark spots appearance. And right now, for a limited time, you can save 35% on all Terrance products. Simply go to Terrance.com and enter the coupon code EARLY at checkout. That's Terrance, that's .com, coupon code EARLY. Save 33% on your order today. Look, this makes a great gift. Wife, girlfriend, mother, someone in your family, they need something good, go check it out. Get that signed up for them. Okay, we'll step away for a few moments. Terrance Bates coming up. Don't go anywhere. Stick around this early edition of American Sunrise.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just...
All right. Welcome back, American Sunrise Early Edition. It's also the Ted Nugent edition as we rock our way into this weekend. Don't forget, we have a great halftime performance on tap for you right here on Real America's Voice, so tune in for that. Also, tune in for Terrance Bates, who joins me again. Let's kind of recap some of the biggest stories of the week, and I'm going to start doing this series now on Friday at the last block of the show. I'm going to recap maybe things that we learned throughout the week. But let's start with the Epstein files. It continues to be a huge story. We saw millions of documents dumped. We've seen subpoenas. We've seen people say they're going to show up. And now Hillary and Bill are like, heck, we're going to show up and we're going to be on camera. Let's do this thing. What's your thoughts on what has transpired over the week with the Epstein files? Crazy.
Yeah, so Hillary Clinton, as you kind of alluded to, is demanding that her deposition before the House Oversight Committee be public. I'm not going to lie to you, Brian. I think it's a great idea. I think America wants to see it. America wants to hear for themselves what comes out of that deposition. I'm all for it being public. But one thing that's really kind of surprised me, if you will, Brian, as it relates to the Epstein files, is the impact even outside of the United States. In Britain in particular, Parliament has had to address some of the names that have been raised, some of the British names that have been raised of movers and shakers who may have visited Epstein Island, who may be implicated, and I use that word lightly because, again, these are just allegations at this point, but let's just be honest. If your name comes up in the files, you're somewhat implicated. Like, there are questions that are being attached to your name. So even Britain, lawmakers there and some movers and shakers from Britain have been implicated in the Epstein files. And so the reverberation is happening globally. It's not just here in the United States. It's not just American politicians, but there are other politicians who seem to have had relationships with Jeffrey Epstein. We don't know to what degree, but there are questions that are being asked.
Yeah, I just got a media inquiry today from a journalist in Norway who says even someone in their government was implied somewhere. So you're absolutely right. But my point is this: if anyone's mentioned in the files and you're absolutely innocent, there's no, maybe you met him at a restaurant and he just sent you a message saying nice to meet you, then I would hold a press conference front and center the next day and I would just get it all out there. I think by some of these people not saying anything or hiding from it, maybe alludes that they maybe have some type of guilt to hide. I like the fact that they're going to be on camera for this as well. All right, real quickly, turn our attention to Minnesota. It looks like we have Tom Homan. He's gone back in there, a little different approach to getting these people off the streets, a little bit more tactical, low key.
Yeah, and, there's been some criticism already of Tom Homan and the Trump administration saying that they're backing down to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and to Mayor Fry there. Okay, take it how you want. I'm not so sure I necessarily see it as backing down, more so just a retooling of resources. But the facts are 700 fewer ICE agents and federal agents are now going to be on the streets there in Minneapolis. That's huge. That's a huge retraction of force, but hopefully the job still gets done.
15 seconds. Who got the Super Bowl, Terrance?
Me.
You on the couch, huh?
Yeah, there you go. You're not gonna get me on camera going for one team or another. Quite honestly, it's not my Chicago Bears, so I don't really care, Brian. That's the other thing. My Chicago Bears aren't playing. American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday.
What are you doing? Are you filming me? Wait, I thought the cameras were off.
No, I'm sorry, guys. I'm logging into Prime Video to see if I look just as good on Prime Video as I do on our app.
You're up on Prime Video. So there you go. Now streaming.
Guys, there's another story that a lot of folks are talking about, and this, of course, is Savannah Guthrie's mother having been kidnapped, Nancy Guthrie. She's 84 years old. It's also on President Trump's radar. He posted on Truth Social that all government resources are going to be mobilized to help in the search for Nancy Guthrie. He also spoke with the family, offering them some words of solace. The Guthrie family, though, in the meantime, is out with a plea to the alleged kidnappers here.
There's nobody watching this that can't empathize because, some people in the world don't have children. Everybody at some point in their life had a mother, and it just is heartbreaking to watch.
This is turning into more than just a major national story. This is something that we're watching develop in real time that so many Americans want to know what's going on, and we're on top of it.
Democrats in Congress warning they may block funding for the Department of Homeland Security unless changes are made to immigration enforcement practices. The demands include more oversight of ICE, such as body cams and limits on arrests without warrants. Republicans oppose these changes, setting up a budget showdown ahead of a key funding deadline. How do you see the battle over DHS funding ending?
Look, I think it's going to be tough to actually get a real agreement here. We cannot tolerate illegal immigrants who are criminals and terrorists and drug traffickers running all over our streets, and the Democrats keep releasing them over and over again. That's the bottom line. They've released people, including murderers, rapists, sex offenders, and people with dozens of criminal convictions back onto our streets, and that is why ICE has to go into the communities and find them, because there's zero cooperation from these local municipalities.
Congresswoman, let's talk about your own backyard, New York. Obviously, you represent Staten Island, also a portion of southern Brooklyn. This headline talking about anti-Semitic incidents in New York City nearly tripling, despite other crimes reaching record lows. 182% rise in January since Mayor Mamdani has taken over. 31 anti-Jewish crimes reported in January alone, compared to 11 a year ago.
The day after the election, there was a swastika found in a Brooklyn school just outside my district, a yeshiva. It is heart-wrenching. When it comes to these types of hate crimes, they need to be just as vigilant and take just as much decisive action to protect New Yorkers, particularly our Jewish friends.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rev has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just
Ahead on American Sunrise, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is demanding that her testimony in the Jeffrey Epstein probe be held publicly. In doing so, she's also challenging House Oversight Chairman James Comer, saying that it's time to stop the games and bring transparency to the hearing. We'll have the very latest for you. Plus, the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie intensifies as investigators pursue new leads in what authorities call a suspected abduction. The FBI is now involved in offering a $50,000 reward in the case. Why investigators say this is a critical time in the investigation. That's ahead. And then later, Turning Point USA is staging an all-American halftime show to rival the NFL's official performance. The show is headlined by Kid Rock and other stars. It's billed as a celebration of faith, family, and freedom, and it will stream opposite the big game. So, what will the response be? We'll talk about it. Those stories and so much more right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in Bo Davidson, who is with us this morning here in Palm Beach, and also Terrance Bates. He's in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Dr. G and Bo, good morning to both of you.
Good morning to you as well. Great to see you both.
Thank you. Hey, Dr. Gina, so look, one of the hardest words to pronounce in geopolitics is nuclear non-proliferation. I have to say it slowly because otherwise I can't really get it out. But that really is the word of the day. President Trump or the Trump administration, of course, having nuclear talks with Iran. Those talks are currently underway. Initially, they were canceled, though, and moved to Oman. You may remember originally they were set to happen in Turkey. But in separate talks, Russia and the United States also discussing the expiration of the last remaining nuclear arms agreements between those two countries. They agree that talks for reeling in nuclear arsenals really need to begin between those countries as well. Nuclear non-proliferation. Who would have thought that in this day and age we would still be talking about it? But it is still an issue. Many countries now trying to back off, or at least having conversations, Dr. Gina, about backing off and downsizing their nuclear arsenals, which I think is a good deal personally, but I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on how this really goes and if the bargaining is really in good faith or if some of these countries are just going to hide some of their nuclear arsenal and say, oh, yeah, we've downgraded.
Well, I think that's getting harder and harder to do. There's so much technology. There's, so many ways to see things from space that I think that's getting harder and harder to do. So to do so really endangers them, Bo, in ways that might put them in worse peril than if they just kept doing what they were doing and didn't pretend not to, right? But I do love that, the president that everybody said, that the whole left said was going to cause a nuclear war is the one who's causing everybody to tuck their nukes away.
Yeah, Dr. G, I would agree. And but I think Trump holds all the cards here. I mean, he's got diplomacy at his disposal. He's got military option at his disposal. As Caroline Leavitt said as much the other day. Jared Kushner obviously negotiated the Abraham Peace Accords. We hope for diplomacy. We hope for peace. But I know you guys know the word FAFO. And I would just hate to say that to Iran. But let's be honest. If you keep going down this road, I don't think it's going to end very well for you either way.
Wow, we opened the show with that.
Just saying.
Bo is setting the curve here, Terrance. It's free sailing from here on. It is Friday, you guys. It's Freedom Friday, so Bo's just taking advantage.
That's right. Absolutely. Bo, I'm looking at colleges and funding college, so FAFSA is all I know, not FAFO. When you said FAFSA, I was like, FAFSA? Oh, my God, I still got to fill out that paperwork. Anyway, we'll continue to obviously cover the ongoing meetings in Oman as well as the situation between Russia and Ukraine, Dr. Gina, throughout the day. But would you give us our Bible verse, please?
Yeah. It is today from Matthew 11, verses 28 and 29. Come to me, all of you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. There's a great song they always sing in the Catholic Church about that, referencing that verse that I really like. All right, listen, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton calling for her testimony in the House Oversight Committee's Jeffrey Epstein probe to be held in public, challenging committee chair James Comer to let Americans watch live. Clinton said she and former President Bill Clinton have engaged in good faith, but that previous testimony has been ignored, urging let's stop the games in public. The Clintons agreed to testify later this month as part of the investigation into the convicted sex offender. Let's bring in RAV Chief White House correspondent Brian Glenn. Brian, this is a big turnaround from we're going to no show to now we want this to be public. What happened?
I don't know. Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. We went from being, are they going to show up, to, okay, they'll show up. But boy, did they not lean into this. And I will say about this hearing, they better be careful what they wish for, because there's some very sharp individuals on that hearing along that James Comer chairs, that they're going to be cross-examined 6 ways to Sunday on this. I think this is going to be must-see TV. And if they believe in transparency, they better be willing to be transparent themselves. They will get asked the tough questions, and we will find out exactly what their relationship was, both of them. to the Epstein, in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, what they know, where did they go, how many, it's all going to be answered and questioned on this hearing. So I'm literally looking forward to it.
Yeah, Brian, we all know that Hillary has not been the most transparent person, has she? But I want to get your thoughts on President Trump. He made a very special announcement last night, and here's part of it. Let's take a look.
We're here this evening to celebrate the launch of one of the most transformative healthcare initiatives of all time. There's never been anything like it. Starting tonight, dozens of the most commonly used prescription drugs will be available at dramatic discounts for all consumers throughout a new website. It's called TrumpRx.gov. That's TrumpRx.gov. For years, politicians from both parties have promised to bring down prescription drug prices and make health care more affordable, but they all failed. It was all words as usual. They failed, and they failed badly. They tried doing this, some of them, most of them didn't even try, because they never really had a shot at it. But I'm actually getting it done, and it is done.
Brian, I was taking a look at the website. I had to take a look at it. And I'm looking at things like a Wegovy pen, an Ozempic pen, for instance. A lot of people use this. Original price, $1,349. Now it says $199 a month. What can you tell us about how he's been able to negotiate this most favored nation's pricing, and how do people actually access it?
That's a great question. This was one of numerous press conferences the president has had in the Oval Office about this. This was a campaign promise. Now, when he first got all the pharmaceutical companies together, he told them what he wanted. Now, many of them pushed back and said it's ultimately impossible to do what he wanted, but they have all come to the table. Now, this website, they don't specifically sell drugs or medications from this site. This is simply a hub that directs you to these other pharmaceutical companies. And the ones that are on this list right now are the first ones that came to the table. So some of these companies that might not have offered up their best deal yet, once they come on board, they will be added to this website. But this is just a great resource. And that is, they call it the fat drug. That is one drug that's on there. But there's a lot of beneficial medications that you can get on this website that's going to lower your monthly cost, and sometimes even free with some of the deals that they have. So this is just another example of President Trump's commitment to lower the price of health care.
And it's putting America first, for sure, putting American consumers first, because we all know, most of us probably know some family members who have to decide about either buying groceries or buying their medications. And so hopefully this will make that a little bit easier for those people. Brian, you and I talked about this yesterday, but I want to play this clip again. President Trump weighing in on the 2028 race while you and I are focused on the midterms. The president already looking forward a little bit. And he talks about a ticket with J.D. Vance and Secretary Marco Rubio. Here are his thoughts.
Look, JD is fantastic, and Marco is fantastic.
How are they different? How are they different?
And I do think this. It's a great question. I think that's your most interesting question. Yeah. I would say one is slightly more diplomatic than the other. I think they're both of very high intelligence. I mean, they will do shows. They will do Joe Rogan as opposed to the opponent not doing it because they couldn't handle it. They will be able to do whatever they have to do. I think there's a difference in style. You can see the style yourself, but they're both very capable. I do think the combination of JD and Marco would be very hard to be beaten, I think. But you never know in politics, right? They say in the age of Trump, you never know.
All right, so Petty T. Bates just came out. Brian, and I'd like to go round robin. Which one do you think he believes is the more diplomatic one? I know we could talk about a lot of things, but which one do you think is the more diplomatic one, Brian? And then we'll go around Dr. Gina and Bo. Brian?
Okay. I think he's referring to Marco Rubio on the diplomatic.
Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely
Dr. Gina?
He's definitely referencing Marco Rubio. Wow, how far Marco has come in President Trump's mind from where he used to be. Right, Bo?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All the way around, I think it's Marco he's talking about, because JD has a tendency, I think, to have a little bit more of that Trumpism of I will do what I want to do and I will make you bend to my will. Marco's, I think, I got a little more of the diplomacy in him.
But do you remember the Zelensky meeting, the first one, when he said, "Mr. President, if you don't mind, I'd like to jump in here." That's the feisty J.D. Vance that exists. He's willing to scrap.
Brian, you started all of that. You started. you started all of that, Brian.
But
Brian's
J.D. finished it.
Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that. So I think he's willing. Look, they're both great communicators, and which I think is important in all of this. I think J.D. Vance has a very much the guy next door type approach. He's the guy you go out and have a beer with. He's the guy that can talk politics. He's a guy that can throw the football with you as well in the front yard. He's a common guy, and I think that people like that, but he's also very, very calculated. He's a smart individual. He's got the best of both worlds. Now, Marco's a little bit more reserved. If you remember during that Zelensky, he just kind of sat back in that couch and looked forward and was just kind of focusing on everything. But I think both of them would make great leaders. And I think it's a great discussion that we're having way too early, but we are having it.
Yeah. Will that be the death blow, Brian? Really quickly, we're out of time, but will that be the death blow to kind of, because if the Democrats just start loading guns against them right now, eesh.
Well, I think there's a reason why J.D. Vance have been put in charge of fighting the waste, fraud, and abuse in California. They want to put him as at focus, taking on Gavin Newsom in regards to that. So they're already pitting them up to almost having a debate over how bad Newsom has handled the state of California. So there is your preemptive presidential debate.
Brian Glenn, thanks for your time. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend. Coming up this Freedom Friday, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV Newsroom with Terrance Bates. Also later, the Russia-Ukraine talks wrap up. Were any major breakthroughs made? We have analysis on that next on American Sunrise.
I danced to Rosalita. I shouted out.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now. Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
RAV has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with RAV. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in. Be counted. Be heard. Together, we are RAV.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Coming up, authorities release a new timeline in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Are we closer to a resolution, though? Well, we'll have the latest for you. But Terrance Bates is standing by with the latest headlines from Real America's Voice Newsroom, sponsored, of course, by AMAC.
This news break is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
The Winter Olympics opening ceremony gets underway today in Milan, Italy. On Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance met with members of Team USA in order to encourage them.
You can tell by the ratings from the Olympics, you can tell by the fact that it really brings the country together. Everybody is rooting for you guys and everybody's cheering for you. We're so excited to be here. This has been the highlight of my time as Vice President, to get to come to bring my family to root for the Olympic team. But let me just say personally, I'm amazed by the combination of excellence, sacrifice, and so I hope that you guys enjoy it.
The country's current second in charge is following in the footsteps of his predecessors Joe Biden in 2010 and Mike Pence in 2018. Former Vice President Kamala Harris didn't attend the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing, though, because the Biden administration launched a diplomatic boycott of those games over human rights concerns in China. President Trump's Trump accounts for newborns and young children continue to gain more private support. The latest company to join the effort is Wall Street giant Citi. Citi says it's going to match the federal government's initial $1,000 seed money for its U.S.-based employees. Eligible accounts will be for kids who are born between January 1st of this year, or of last year, and December 31st of 2028. In its note to employees, Citi writes, and this is a quote, "These accounts are intended to promote long-term savings from a young age and provide children with investment assets that will grow over time. We're excited to play an active role in supporting the financial well-being of families across the U.S." President Trump's TrumpRx discount drug website is up and running this morning. It launched on Thursday, offering patients a new option for buying discount prescription drugs by cash instead of using insurance. The site is a key part of President Trump's efforts to lower health care costs. The TrumpRx website features discounts that the administration has negotiated with drug companies like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, and others. While patients can't buy drugs directly from the site, it does link them to pharmaceutical companies' direct-to-consumer purchasing platforms, or it links them to coupons that can be used at a pharmacy. That's a quick check of your headlines. We'll, of course, have more headlines coming your way in just a little bit. But now let's get a quick check of your forecast. By the way, go to our various social media platforms, be it Getter, Rumble, YouTube. Let us know where you're hanging out. And who knows, you might be one of the recipients of our hometown forecast in our next hour. The woman who offers those hometown forecasts, Tracy Anthony. Tracy, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Speaking of hometown, this was early this morning here in Jupiter, Florida. My husband called me and was like, there's an iguana on the sidewalk. So it is cold once again. I know we've been talking about falling iguanas now for 2 weeks. You know, this should be the last of it, but look at that. And our puppy even just sitting so good. But over 5,000 iguanas were turned in to the Florida Wildlife Conservation Unit over the last week. So 5,000, just an incredible number. So more falling iguanas here across the southeast. We do have a system that's moving across the Great Lakes and going to impact the northeast with some snow today and some brutal cold wind chills here for the weekend. And out west, we do have an atmospheric river on deck. So more rain in the forecast, mainly for the Pacific Northwest, not areas south than the Bay Area. So for the big game over the weekend, it looks like they're going to have a nice forecast. I know it's a love-hate relationship with the big game, but Terrance, I don't know if you the team or if you don't watch, if you do watch. But hey, at least the weather for it is going to be nice.
All right, we'll take the weather. Yeah, my team is not in it, so I will be watching the All-American halftime show, which, of course, is counter-programming featuring Kid Rock and some other stars. I'll be tuned into that at the halftime of the big game. Tracy, always good to talk to you. We'll check in with you next hour for a quick check of our hometown forecast. Good to see you.
See you.
All right, folks, up next, the talks between the United States and Iran are back on this morning. So what was the main holdup? We'll tell you. Right now, though, a quick look at this day in history. It was on this date in 1971 during the Apollo 14 mission that astronaut Alan Shepard made space history with just one big swing. Using a modified moon rock collection tool as a golf club, Shepard one-handedly hit 2 golf balls on the lunar surface. The first shot was shanked into a nearby crater, but the second one flew a little bit farther, making it the only golf ever played on the moon. We're back in a moment.
Walking on the moon. We could walk forever. Walking on the moon. I danced to Rosalita. I shouted out.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. Ukraine, Russia, and the United States wrap up the second day of U.S. brokered peace talks in Abu Dhabi, aimed at ending nearly 4 years of war. Diplomats say the discussions have been substantive, but no breakthroughs have been reached, with territorial claims remaining a major obstacle, of course. Both sides agreed to a reciprocal prisoner of war exchange, a rare concrete result, as hostilities and attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure continue. The talks are expected to continue in the days ahead. Well, let's now bring in Senior Research Fellow for the Heritage Foundation, Brent Sadler. Brent, how do you see this war ending, and are you more glass full or glass empty on this, half empty, knowing the tumult that is going on in this ongoing conflict?
I don't want to be a downer to the whole thing, but I'm kind of like right in the middle. It's a good thing to see these negotiations occurring. It's not the first time that there's been a prisoner exchange. Typically, it's done in the holidays leading up to Orthodox Christmas and the New Year. Both sides, both warring factions in this, the Russians and the Ukrainians both share that same sensibility. But whether or not it's a moment that's going to turn the page, Putin did not honor his word with Trump to stop attacking the cities and the power grid. That continues. And so it's not clear that enough pressure has been put on Moscow to really get them compelled to enter into a meaningful ceasing of the fighting. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be some harder actions against Russia's economy on the high seas, their oil, for example, and also more pressure applied to Beijing, India, and perhaps even Turkey to stop buying Russian petroleum.
Brent, the term exercise in futility comes to mind when I think of the ongoing negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. It's a similar thing when I think of the ongoing negotiations between the United States and Iran. Axios has this headline, which reads, U.S.-Iran nuclear talks back on after Arab leaders lobby the White House. The talks are now happening in Oman instead of in Turkey. 9 countries have reached out to the United States to ask them to come back to the table and have these conversations again. Is all of this simply an exercise in futility? Is it going to really bear any fruit?
Well, there's a lot that's changed. I'm not sure the talks are going to be the solution. I think the Iranians are really, honestly, just trying to bide for time. And that's certainly not going to stop the hammer that's being formed right now of U.S. military forces from coming down on them, if that, in fact, is what they're playing for, because patience, quite frankly, has run out. And all of the advantage right now for turning the page historically on this theocratic dictatorship and international support of terrorism, the time is now for the people of Iran to take their own future in their hands. So the talks, there's some interesting new things that are happening in there, but I give it small odds unless the Iranians change their game plan.
What is catching your attention? What's interesting to you in terms of what's developing in those talks?
Well, in the lead up to it, you had a number of European nations designate the IRGC as a terrorist organization, backing U.S.'s a more forceful position in the United States, not sanctioning explicitly military action. You had other Middle Eastern countries responding that if Iran attacked them or tried to get to the U.S. forces and thereby attacking their territory as in response to a U.S. attack on Iran, that they would retaliate in kind. And so those are some interesting developments that I've never seen or has not been very pronounced in the past. Certainly a more united front, a forceful one standing up to Iran. And I think that's a factor, the reality that this regime in Tehran is on its last legs.
Okay.
Brent, moving over to Taiwan for a moment, their president says ties with the United States remain rock solid following a phone call between President Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Xi urged Trump to be cautious about U.S. arms sales to Taiwan, which Beijing claims as its own territory, according to Chinese officials. Taipei said cooperation with the U.S. will continue even as Washington moves forward with a historic multi-billion-dollar defense package. Trump called the conversation excellent and is expected to visit China in April. So, Brent, what's your take on this, and what do you predict going forward?
Well, the caution is that the U.S. side should not be taken in by promises of a changed behavior or benefits coming from, trade with Beijing. It comes with lots of strings attached, and certainly it doesn't help Taiwan defend itself. So there needs to be a separation of the arms sales into any other type of bilateral deals and negotiations with Beijing. These arms sales are moving ahead, hopefully. It's not helpful that the parliament or the Congress in Taipei, also the opposition party, pulled back a sizable defense budget increase, sends a confusing message to D.C. at a very critical moment leading up to the summit in April between Trump and Xi Jinping.
Brent Sadler, thank you so much for your expert analysis here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Coming up, we're going to talk Medicare because a lot of people aren't getting the full story. Most Medicare agents push Medicare Advantage plans even when they're not right. Why? Because that's where the money is for them. But seniors are paying the price, and that's what makes Chapter different. They walk you through original Medicare, Medigap, Medicare Advantage, and Part D with the pros and cons all laid out for you so you can make the right call for your own health needs. Donna said her chapter advisor walked her through every option and explained everything in a way she could actually understand. Plus, they saved her thousands of dollars, so that's key. So if you're on Medicare, or you will be soon, call 814-CHAPTER, 814-CHAPTER. That way you can learn about enrollment options and find ways to save monies. And it's free, it's quick, and they can review your options in under 20 minutes. Most people wish they'd called sooner, bet you will too. All right, up next, could a push for healthier food be lowering your grocery bill? The Trump administration says its Make America Healthy Again initiative is pressuring big food to cut those prices, including recent moves by PepsiCo. But are all costs really coming down? We're going to talk about it, those details, just ahead. Stay with us.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. We couldn't get a sunnier song than that in our background right now. Go to Real America's Music for that. Thank you for joining us. It is time now for today's health news. It is sponsored by the Wellness Company, and under the microscope today, how the MAHA movement has brought your food prices down. According to reports, President Trump's Make America Healthy Again, or MAHA initiative, led by Health and Human Services Secretary Bobby Kennedy Jr., has created market pressures that have helped push some grocery prices down. These include recent price cuts from big food companies like PepsiCo. Grocery prices rose just 2.4% for the year ending in December, far below food at home inflation during the Biden era, needless to say. The administration points to policy shifts, including healthier food focus, removal of certain ingredients, and changes to federal nutrition programs as part of the shift in the food market. Critics, though, say that some costs remain high, like meats, and industry groups push back on new rules affecting sugar and snack products. But you can always buy your food from a local farmer. Sometimes it costs a little more, but it's a lot more nutritious, and you don't have to worry about all the health risks. And we need to get to a place again in this country where our local farmer food is more affordable to us than what's in the grocery store. February is National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. Now more than ever, we need to be asking what each of us can do to lower our chances of cancer. So if you or a loved one is battling cancer, 1 in 3 families are, we need to make sure that no stone is left unturned in the effort to stay healthy. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. You know them, and they're great doctors like Dr. Victory and McCullough. We have them on the show all the time, and the Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals. You can trust them. The Wellness Company is committed to providing safe, low-cost alternatives to big pharma. From ivermectin to methylene blue, their fantastic new product, you have to read about it, called Shield, so much more. The Wellness Company gives you the opportunity to make sure that the promise of the MAHA movement is a reality in your life. This February, let's take control of our health. Go to twc.health/RAV. Give it an order. That's twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. That'll save you 10%. Prepare now. Don't wait till it's too late. Right, T?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, in my life, I've waited till it's too late too many times. So go on and make your order right now. And those are some really good supplements that you can take advantage of. Thanks, Dr. G. Authorities released a brand new update today, or actually yesterday, in the search for Nancy Guthrie, who has been missing in Arizona for a couple of days now. Investigators say there are no suspects and no confirmed ransom demands at this point in time. The FBI has joined the case and is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to her location. Anyone with information is asked to contact the FBI as the search continues. Joining us now with analysis is the founder and chair of the board of the Wounded Blue, and that will be Lieutenant Randy Sutton. Randy, good morning to you. Appreciate you joining us. As you watch all of this unfold, what are some of your questions? What are some of the red flags, that have been raised in your professional opinion? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, this is a really disturbing situation taking place down there in Arizona. We have watched since Saturday, or actually Sunday, this playing out with the kidnapping of the abduction of Mrs. Guthrie. We've seen the pain from the family in this devastating video that the family put out, and the unfortunate reality is that the law enforcement down there appears to be, when I say the word clueless, I mean this in the most real terms, seems to be clueless about her whereabouts or about any of the actors that might be involved with this. We've seen that the scene itself was under law enforcement control, then it was released, then it was returned back to law enforcement control. We've seen some disjointed press conferences by the sheriff down there. The reality now appears that the FBI is playing a major role in this investigation. And I think that appears to be a good thing for the family. But at this point, this is a true whodunit. And they don't seem to have a whole lot of clues when it comes down to who the suspects might be.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I believe there are 8,000 different police precincts across the country, and they vary in their level of expertise in terms of, do they know how to take on, when we hear about there were bloodstains on the porch that were left and media was going up there and filming them and things like that, when this should have been a taped off crime scene. I mean, I'm not a police officer, but even I know that, Lieutenant. So I saw John Ramsey interviewed, Joan Benet Ramsey's father interviewed about this, and he said the number one thing that they didn't realize was that they could say, hey, bring in all the national resources you can, bring in the FBI. When it's a kidnapping case, you can immediately bring in the FBI. There's a lot of turfiness sometimes in some of these police departments. Talk to us about what they're doing behind the scenes right now, Lieutenant, and what families should know, God forbid, if they're ever put in this position.
Well, it's pretty clear to me the FBI was brought in very, very early. I don't think that there's any turf wars going on here. They brought in the experts. When it comes down to forensic abilities, the FBI is unparalleled. They have many more resources, both in the forensic area as well as the digital and technological area. So they were brought in very, very quickly. Now, when it comes down to what you referred to as the scene being, basically open to the public, I mean, it is a little baffling. I got to tell you, I was a little shocked by it, but I've also been shocked by the disjointed sheriff's commentary. I mean, at first he made some comments about evidence that was found, and then he walked it back and said, "Well, no, that really didn't happen." I'm a little baffled by that.
Well, he's a politician running for office. He's an elected sheriff. I don't know if that plays, but it could.
No, you're right, and I'm not going to get into what I've been hearing about him, but let's just say that I'm very glad that there is a major federal response here.
Yeah.
You saw that the president of the United States also, made his own commentary and committed assets from the federal government.
Yes.
So I think
that will take this case over and get some things going right. But we are out of time. I'm so sorry, Lieutenant. But thank you so much for being with us today. We'll have you back soon.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, coming up, the Super Bowl halftime show turning into a culture war, like everything else, pretty much, right? As the NFL spotlights pop star Bad Bunny, conservatives pushing back with a pro-America alternative featuring Kid Rock, faith, freedom, and football. That clash just ahead.
This is a monumental moment in American culture. This Sunday, Real America's Voice and Real America's Music come together to do what the mainstream industry won't. Take the music back. Starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, we go live with exclusive pre-coverage of the Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show, a patriotic alternative. For years, the left has weaponized the music industry, using it to push politics, erase values, and divide the country. That ends now. This All-American Halftime Show exists to celebrate American pride, traditional values, and artists who still stand with the heartland. Featuring Kid Rock, Bradley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett. Artists who connect with real Americans. Join us live for coverage that turns the music industry on its head. Real America's Voice, Real America's Music. The TPUSA All-American Halftime Show. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Coffee pods, gotta have them every day. They're easy, but most of them are just caffeine and nothing else. Rejuvenate pods. They're made differently, you guys. They're clean Arabica pods. They're infused with CAAKG. That's a compound linked to longevity, metabolism, and deep cellular energy. It's the easiest way to get better focus, smoother energy, and long-term benefits without changing your routine. I choose them because they match my lifestyle. More energy, more clarity, and more intention. That's how I want to start my day. So if you're going to drink coffee anyway, might as well make it one that actually supports the life you're building. Head to 1775coffee.com/Rav and try Rejuvenate Pods today. Don't just drink coffee. Rejuvenate, you guys. All right, now that we're caffeinated, it's time to stay awake, not woke. And today we are discussing the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl halftime show is sparking a full-blown culture clash while the NFL pushes pop star Bad Bunny as its official halftime act. Conservatives, we're fighting back. Turning Point USA is hosting an all-American halftime event. This features Kid Rock and pro-America country stars, calling it a patriotic alternative for fans tired of woke entertainment. Supporters say it's about faith, freedom, and putting America first, even on Super Bowl Sunday. I want to bring in our amazing Rav correspondent, host of Breaking Point, David Zier. David, which performer are you the most excited to see?
Well, I like the lineup for the All-American halftime show, that's for sure here. And by the way, it's great to see you. I'm on my way to Mar-a-Lago to support your Moms for America event.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry I brought the cold weather down here to Florida from New York. But listen, I can't wait for Coco's fake national anthem, right? You know, to start off the Super Bowl. It's so crazy. And move over Bad Bunny, because I have an idea.
Okay.
They should have me do the halftime show with that crazy, angry, liberal, middle-aged white woman who was sing-songing to me that I was a badass man. So
oh
move
my
over
gosh.
Bad Bunny.
What a great idea.
Right? And we could have had the woman.
That was like a rap anyway. They could just make it into a rap. Yeah.
It would be great. And the woman who threw the drink in our cameraman Brandon's face, we could have her doing shots in the background, ice rappelling from the rafters, jumping in vans, and leaving the stadium because Santa Clara, California, has 27% of the Bay Area's 7 counties illegal aliens, or 119,000 of them. So what a show. They should put me in charge next year.
I think they should. I am pro that. Let's tell Zen Master.
Yes.
All right, David, tell us what you, I don't know if we're at that point yet. No, I think we can still talk a little bit more. So are you going to watch the Super Bowl, the Super Bowl itself?
Yes, I will, and I may be participating with Rav. I don't know. I'm an AFC guy, so let's see where that goes here. But I'm excited about this lineup for the All-American halftime show. You know, Lee Bryce, who played football at Clemson on a football scholarship, Brantley Gilbert, who was on the USO tour for our troops, and he also smashed a Bud Light can up on stage a couple of years ago, I think. Gabby Barrett, American Idol, I think she came in 3rd place in one of the seasons, met her husband there. So listen, it's so much better than Roger Goodell, you know, this liberal woke agenda. And I get it, Bad Bunny had 20 billion live streams, but he's from Puerto Rico, and even though he's an advocate for the people there, the United States citizens give $20 billion a year outside of our tourist dollars to Puerto Rico, and we spend trillions of dollars on health care, housing, and 20% of our federal prison system, at least, are illegal aliens. So what's the cost to the U.S. taxpayer? Why doesn't he care about that? And why isn't he grateful that the U.S. is there for Puerto Rico?
Honestly, that's the part that makes me so mad, too, the absolute lack of gratitude. All right, David Zier, thank you so much for your time. We'll see you on Breaking Point.
Look forward to it.
All right, us too. Thanks for coming in. And I'll see you over at the Moms for America event at Mar-a-Lago here in just a minute. All right, as Black History Month continues, many are reflecting on the powerful role of faith and religion in shaping America's Black community. From churches to civil rights, how spiritual leadership helped drive change and why it still matters today. Quick programming note, Real America's Voice has launched a new must-see show this week, 11 p.m. Eastern. It's called After Hours with Alex Stein. You don't want to miss this. Here's a little preview.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The the undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. Always good to have you along for the ride. It's now time for our moment of faith, which is brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. This morning, we're starting a conversation about segregation among people of faith. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. famously said that 11 o'clock on Sunday morning is the most segregated hour of the week. While there's been a rise in multicultural congregations in the decades since Dr. King made that statement, how far has the faith community really come in terms of worshiping and praying together? Let's bring in the pastor of the 180 Church in Detroit, Michigan, Dr. Lorenzo Sewell, or Pastor Lorenzo Sewell. Pastor, always good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so Holy Ghost happy to be with you, my brother.
Well, we are happy to have you. Let me just start the conversation there. How far do you see our faith community having come since Dr. King said those words in terms of really uniting and praying as the body of Christ, not just the body of a racially segregated Christ?
Yesterday, I was with the President of the United States of America, the most pro-life, pro-faith, pro-church, pro-Christian president of our history, and he had every nation, every tribe, every tongue with him yesterday. We were all calling on the name of the Lord, and I'm telling you this, Terrance, we are fulfilling the very prayers of Jesus. Jesus said that we would be one so the world would know that he was sent. I have seen, particularly in the Republican Party, an embracing of people like me, an embracing of people of faith, an embracing of those that call on the name of the Lord out of a pure heart, and I'm so grateful, and I really feel like like I've been hugged by heaven to see what God is doing through our president as it relates to bringing every person together. It's Black History Month. And because of this month, it reminds us how far we've come as it relates to us gathering together, praying together. Dr. Martin Luther King said we should struggle together. We should pray together. He mentioned that we should go to jail together. And that's the greatness of America, right? It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic background. A kid from the east side of Detroit can begin to pray for a president only in America.
You know, studies show that the percentage of congregations where no single racial group makes up more than 80% of the membership has almost tripled since the late 1990s. Are you seeing that even there in inner city Detroit, which, let's just be honest, it's not necessarily the most homogenous city. There are parts of Detroit that are racially segregated as well. But are you finding that on Sunday morning you're getting a confluence of people coming together to praise the Lord?
This is a very good point, Terrance. Until the president came to my church, we were an all-Black church. But after he came to our church, listen to this. We've had 10 nations. I want you to think about that. 10 nations have not only come to our church, but we've had people stay at our church, every tribe, every tongue, every culture. So me personally, although I'm in the context, right, that is typically all Black, we've seen people come from all over the world to fulfill the prayer of Jesus. Jesus said that he prayed to the Father that we would be one so the world could be able to see that the Father sent the Son. So I'm seeing it every day in my life.
And how are you working to attract more people from even outside of your community, or even those who live in your community, to feel welcome and to find a home at your church?
You know, I'm keeping the main thing, right? When we talk about the gospel, when we talk about the good news, right, we're all sinners. We all fall short of the glory of God. All of us have to deal with the fact that we've all fallen, right? And we need the grace of God. We need the power of God. We need the name of Jesus. And compassion transcends color. Compassion transcends culture. When you feel the compassion of Christ, you can reach anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Amen. We'll leave the conversation there. Pastor Sewell, always good to see you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I might even go online and watch your service on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it. Always good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. God bless.
Bless you as well. We're back with the second hour of American Sunrise after this.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Coming up on this second hour of American Sunrise, President Trump rolls out Trump RX, promising deep discounts on dozens of common prescription drugs. A new website, new prices, and the White House says this is just the beginning. We'll talk about it and all you need to know. That's straight ahead. Plus, the search continues for the missing mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. The investigation now enters day 6, as authorities say it's likely she was abducted from her own home. The very latest developments for you ahead. And then later, more bad news for Democrats as we inch closer and closer to this year's midterm elections. New polling data suggests a strong majority of likely voters support President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. We'll break down all the numbers for you. That and so much more ahead right now on the second hour of American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back to this second hour of American Sunrise. I'm Terrance Bates. I'm in our Denver newsroom. Let's bring in Bo Davidson. He's in for David Brody, but also in our West Palm studio. Bo, good morning to you. Welcome. Dr. Gina, you saw last hour. She has left the show for the rest of the morning as she has another event that she's hosting. It's a busy day here on Real America's Voice, but a super busy weekend ahead, and it's going to be highlighted by the All-American halftime show. Bo, I know you're looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Kid Rock rocking the stage.
Absolutely, and you've got Brantley Gilbert, you have Lee Brice, who I think is actually an amazing country singer, Gabby Barrett as well. This is very interesting. You know, Turning Point has talked about this, Terrance, for a long time, and I was wondering, are they going to be able to pull this off? Is this actually going to happen? And indeed, it does seem that it will be. I know Rav will be covering this. We've got some special plans for that underway, but I think it's going to be great. You know, I think for all too long, Terrance, that we waited for an alternative to something that people don't necessarily want to see. I think with the bad press that Bad Bunny has been getting for what he's planning on doing, it's nice for people to have an alternative. This is a democracy. This is capitalism. We need to have alternatives, and here we go.
Do you think that from now on, this will really kind of set the stage for more streaming services or even for Real America's Voice to continue counter-programming to the big show, halftime show? Because the reality is some years are misses and not people aren't necessarily interested. And so there's an opportunity here. There's a niche that can be filled.
I do. I think so, Terrance. I mean, look at all the alternatives that you have in streaming. There's so many different alternatives that you have, both in terms of video and audio. Let's not forget Real America's Music, kind of the behemoth they're going up against, which is the music industry. The Grammys, what we just watched, Ice Out on everything. There needs to be an alternative. And I think that's what we're seeing, this marketplace start to open up with different people coming forward, different voices. That's what we're about. We're about democracy. You must raise your voice, lift your voice up. And I just think more voices need to be heard. So between what Real America's Voice is doing, Real America's Music, I just think this whole operation has been amazing in terms of the diversity that it's giving people. So you're right, Terrance. It's setting a new paradigm that's going to be shifted. Yeah. And I think we're looking good.
All right, so look, you and I, we're going to practice over the next year, and then we're going to have our duo. There's Peaches and Herb, Hall & Oates, and then there can be Bo and Terrance. We'll practice. I'll even let you sing lead. How about that, my friend?
I appreciate that, Terrance. I do appreciate it. I'll bring my guitar and piano and kazoo. We'll be ready.
There you go, and I'll just bring me. That's it. That's all I got to offer.
Need,
all right, let's get to a couple of quick headlines here really quickly, Bo. The Winter Olympics opening ceremony gets underway today in Milan, Italy. On Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance met with members of Team USA to encourage them. The country's current second in charge, following in the footsteps of his predecessors Joe Biden in 2010 and Mike Pence in 2018 by going to the Winter Olympics. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, however, did not attend the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing because the Biden administration launched a diplomatic boycott of those games over human rights concerns in China. President Trump's Trump accounts for newborns and young children continue to gain more private support. The latest company to join the effort is Wall Street giant Citi. Citi says it's going to match the federal government's initial $1,000 seed money for its U.S.-based employees. Eligible accounts will be for kids who were born between January 1st of last year and December 31st of 2028. And President Trump's Trump RX discount drug website is up and running this morning. It launched on Thursday, offering patients a new option for buying discount prescription drugs by either cash or instead of using insurance. The site is a key part of President Trump's efforts to lower healthcare costs for Americans. The Trump RX website features discounts that the administration has negotiated with drug companies like Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Eli Lilly, and others. That's a quick check of your headlines. We'll, of course, have more headlines throughout the show. But now, let's get a quick check of your hometown forecast from Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony. Tracy, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Terrance. We got a couple forecasts from yesterday, too, that we missed. So wanted to get them in because Connie in Beckley, West Virginia, going to be dealing with a good amount of snow. So she had freezing fog yesterday, and now 4 to 8 inches of snow in the forecast. So they're going to be dealing with the snow, the gusty winds, and the cold Arctic air that's working on through for the weekend. Now let's take you down to Weeki Wachee, Florida. I think I'm saying that right. Like to fly. Let me know if I'm not. But this is along the nature coast of Florida. Still a little chilly today, but we're back in the mid-70s by early next week. So that's that warming trend that's in the forecast. And out west, Loveland, Colorado, this 60 degrees, beautiful. You've had such nice weather, but those temperatures are going to dial back a little bit here next week. But look at overall across the country. By February 11th or so, we're expecting to almost all be trending above average. So here's that warm up we've been waiting for, Terrance.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Tracy. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday.
Hey, you too.
All right. Well, President Trump is rolling out what he's calling one of the most transformative healthcare initiatives yet. He unveiled a new website called TrumpRx.gov. It's designed to slash the cost of some of the most commonly used prescription drugs out there. Here was the president announcing it last night.
For years, politicians from both parties have promised to bring down prescription drug prices and make health care more affordable, but they all failed. It was all words as usual. They failed, and they failed badly. They tried doing this, some of them, most of them didn't even try, because they never really had a shot at it. But I'm actually getting it done, and it is done, actually.
All right, let's bring in Florida Congressman Jimmy Patronis in Florida for more to talk about all of this. Congressman, welcome. Always good to see you. So look, I hate to be that guy, but the reality is a large part of your population there in Florida are senior citizens who are using these sorts of medications and who are having to make those decisions sometimes between groceries and medications because the cost has traditionally been so high. So I'd love to get your thoughts on what President Trump is doing here.
So Trump is doing what Trump does best. He uses his bully pulpit to get transparency directly to the consumer. And this is what he's doing. He is taking out the middleman as he is going to try to make the good generic drugs and then also a lot of non-generic drugs in a competitive, transparent format on a website, which, you know what, that gets the attention of all the players in that space, all the distributors, all the manufacturers, anybody who wants to be in favor of trying to take advantage of his transparency. They're going to have a low price in order to be on that website.
Indeed, Congressman. I think it's very interesting what he's doing. I was looking over the website earlier, and it's pretty amazing some of the things that the cost that can come down when you use most favored nation. So this is common sense. It's been, I think, long overdue. I want to shift your attention, Congressman, to the House, of course, where you sit. It's set to vote on the Save America Act. The bill would require all states to check for both citizenship status and photo identification before allowing voters to cast ballots in elections. Democrats have been fiercely opposed to this measure. So, Congressman, what's the likelihood that this bill will pass the House as it stands right now?
Well, I think it will pass the House. The SAVE Act has already passed the House twice. The Save America Act's got a little extra provision into it regarding a citizenship check also at the time that the voter registration is provided. So we probably, if I'm a betting man, we're going to jam the Senate. We're going to get it out. We're going to send it to the Senate, and the Senate's going to have to deal with this. And whether it's to break the filibuster or they're going to invoke cloture, this will be sent over to the Senate as we're done playing. And it may get attached onto something that is going to be a must-have bill. So we'll wait and see. But it's too important. Our elections are too important. It's the single most important right that you've got. And we need to make sure that we ensure that there is integrity in the voting process.
Congress, now that you and your colleagues have gotten the appropriation bills over the final hurdle and signed, you're able to shift your focus to other business. What is that business? Where is the focus right now? And I realize that you guys can do more than one thing, but I suspect that some of the focus or some of the hopes of the body is probably pointed in one direction.
Sure. So look, we still feel focused on getting health care prices down. Obamacare is broken. This is something that Speaker Mike Johnson was focused on wanting to do this year. But as you continue to have disruptions from the Democrats, because all they've got is to try to find a way to fight against the president because they have no solutions. Me personally, I'm going to push the PROTECT Act. We want to repeal Section 230, want to repeal transparency and remove the liability protections that big tech and AI has been standing behind that's been poisoning our kids. It's a digital fentanyl. So, I mean, there's going to be a number of pieces of legislation in play, but the Save America Act will be a priority. Healthcare is going to be a priority. Me personally, we're going to work on protecting our children.
Congressman, I want to turn your attention to something we talked about last hour, and that's the public testimony of Bill and Hillary Clinton. Are you for that? Do you believe that transparency is necessary? And if so, what would you expect to be seen in terms of what should be asked of them that the public needs to know? Yeah, look, the Clintons thought they were above the law. You know, they were subpoenaed and requested to come testify in Congress. They, tried to say that, they were not available, that they were above this. And then ultimately we were going to find them in contempt of Congress. We got their attention with that. So now they're going to come around. Again, I love transparency. As long as transparency is in play, the public has nothing to be concerned about. They can come to their own conclusions because they see the facts for themselves. Representative government digging into the issues, and especially just like the image you've got with the global initiative that they have got. How much of the money that they received through the global initiative was tied to Jeffrey Epstein? And was it clear and transparent? And were there strings attached? And was there anything criminally involved? I think the public should deserve every opportunity to get to the bottom of it.
Congressman, really quickly, 15, 20 seconds. As we look forward to the midterms, are you at all concerned about you and your colleagues being able to keep your majority? Obviously, the results in Texas have given some people pause recently. What are your thoughts?
So when we pass legislation like the One Big Beautiful Bill, the true impacts of it are not going to happen overnight. So you're going to see probably the first real wave. We already seen relief in gas prices that are historic, but you're going to see the first real impacts of the One Big Beautiful Bill with tax day after April 15th as those tax refunds start coming out. The American public cares about the economy. They care about balancing their budget and the household budget. It's not going to fix overnight, but the One Big Beautiful Bill has put so many things in motion that ultimately, once it starts to really hit the household, we will then make sure that we have the policies out there that are showing that we care about making sure that our citizens spend their money better than Washington, D.C. does.
Congressman Petronas, we'll have to leave it there. Appreciate you being here with us. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Congressman.
Thank you. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the latest developments in the search for the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, the very latest in the facts ahead.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
The boss.
Welcome back to American Sunrise, and we are continuing to follow the latest in the ongoing search for the mother of Today host Savannah Guthrie, who went missing earlier this week. The desperate search for Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of Today anchor Savannah Guthrie, is growing more urgent tonight as family, friends, and the entire community rally to bring her home. Authorities in Pima County, Arizona, say they believe Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and they're now offering a $50,000 reward for any information that could help find her. Sheriff Chris Nano said today, "We believe Nancy is still out there. We want her home." Take a look. Well, Savannah Guthrie and her siblings released an emotional video saying they're ready to talk over to whoever may have taken their mother. Take a look.
We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her.
Certainly heart-wrenching, but we want to know what you think. So let us know on Rumble or Getter. Hop on and let your voice be heard. Well, coming up on American Sunrise, voters are sending a clear message on immigration, and the numbers aren't subtle. A new national poll shows strong support for deportation and for keeping ICE fully funded, including from independents and swing voters. That's next after the break.
This is a monumental moment in American culture. This Sunday, Real America's Voice and Real America's Music come together to do what the mainstream industry won't. Take the music back. Starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, we go live with exclusive free coverage of the Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show, a patriotic alternative. For years, the left has weaponized the music industry, using it to push politics, erase values, and divide the country. That ends now. This all-American halftime show exists to celebrate American pride, traditional values, and artists who still stand with the heartland. Featuring Kid Rock, Bradley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett. Artists who connect with real Americans. Join us live for coverage that turns the music industry on its head. Real America's Voice, Real America's Music. The TPUSA All-American Halftime Show. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead, scan the QR code now. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back, everyone. We're getting ready for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's set to ring here in just a few minutes, and we, of course, will take you there live. Here's a look at the futures board. As you can see, the top looking really good. The Dow, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ all in the green. The bottom not looking so hot. But again, we'll find out how it's all shaking out. Excuse me, I'm having one of those mornings. We'll find out how it all shakes out the moment the opening bell rings. We'll take you there live here in just a little bit. First, though, let's get you over to Emily. Emily, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Terrance. There is some new polling from Signal, and it's painting a sharp and politically explosive picture of how Americans see immigration enforcement heading into the 2026 midterms. A strong majority of voters, including independents and swing voters, say illegal immigration is a serious national problem, and they want ICE enforcing the law. The numbers are clear. 61% support deporting those in the country illegally. 54% want ICE actively removing illegal immigrants, and 58% oppose defunding the agency altogether. Joining me now with more is GOP pollster and Director of Client Strategy at Signal, Chris Lane. Good morning, Chris. Thanks so much for being here with us. When you look at these numbers, what would you say is driving such strong support for ICE enforcement across independents and swing voters?
Yeah, well, unfortunately for Democrats in the Trump era,
There's a gap between what they and the media want to be true and what the data shows us time and time again. You just cited the overall numbers, but with swing voters, 64% support deporting illegal immigrants and 66% oppose defunding ICE. So if that's what the Democrats want to run on in this midterm, be my guest.
Yeah, and it's certainly not going to work out well for them. How damaging do you think the defund ICE messaging can be for the Democrats if they do continue down that path into the midterms?
Well, we tested precisely that. At this point, the generic ballot is about D+3, D+4, depending on at what point you measure it. And for context, the country is historically about D+2. And in our big red wave in 2024, it was about R+1. So we're not that far away from it. But as soon as this idea of illegal immigration becoming okay again, the ballot actually swings entirely to almost R+2. So Democrats may think they are winning this temporary battle playing on people's emotions, but the fact of the matter is they will ultimately lose the war because the American people simply aren't with them.
Yeah, that's so true. So let's talk about the Republicans' messaging then. What does this polling data suggest about how Republicans should frame immigration as a campaign issue leading into the 2026 midterms?
There is no doubt that what has happened in Minnesota has had an effect on people, and no one wants to see loss of life. But voters also ultimately feel, even in very blue places that I've polled recently, that this is simply a symptom of an open border for 4 years. And this isn't the unfortunate price we have to pay in order to get back to where we need to be. So while no one enjoys the turmoil, people understand that this is what has to be done. So Republicans need to stay pragmatic on this, stay the course, and not retreat, because frankly, that's not what the American people want them to do.
Absolutely. And, immigration is one thing. Your safety as an American is always at the front of your mind. What other topics in all of the polling data that you've been seeing, what other topics do you think are going to be at the front of the minds of Americans as they cast their ballots in the midterms?
Yeah, so, President Trump and Republicans in 2024 won on two issues and two issues alone: illegal immigration and affordability. And last year, illegal immigration, President Trump was viewed as a home run on this issue. In fact, illegal immigration started to drop as a major concern because people saw the problem as solved or being solved. And obviously, it's come back into full view because of Minneapolis. But ultimately, this election will come down to affordability. President Trump made promises about gas prices that are coming true, about grocery prices that are coming true, and we just need to build on that momentum in order to combat the media and Democratic narrative that he has not delivered on that. And I think what happens with the economy between now and November will ultimately decide how the midterms play out.
Absolutely. The affordability, that's the word that I keep hearing, that I think that the Democrats are going to be repeating on the campaign trail as well. What do the Republicans need to do for their messaging on affordability leading up to November?
Yeah, I just tell the truth. The fact of the matter is Democrats printed money for 4 years, caused ridiculous inflation, and we're digging ourselves out of that hole. And we just need to be able to stay the course. And the other big thing that we need to keep an eye on is, up until recently, people blamed Democrats for inflation, and now that is almost a 50-50 battle. And so if Republicans are able to solve inflation over this period of time, or at least greatly diminish it, it positions them much better to make that argument heading into the midterms.
Absolutely. And I think about foreign policy as well, too. That's something that we're not even talking about, but something that the Trump administration has really focused heavily on. Do you think that that is going to play a significant role in swaying voters as they vote in the midterms?
Yeah, what we measure all the time is sure, we want to know what people tell us is popular, but more importantly, what's effective of actually moving voters from one place to the other. And the number one way to make an effective message is to make it about the voter. How does this affect me? And so, the situation in Ukraine, the situation in Gaza, people have grown tired of paying other people's bills, and that is ultimately how foreign policy affects them. So I think President Trump has had an incredible balance between making sure we're addressing issues that affect national security and not involving us in endless wars that cost trillions of dollars.
Do you have any predictions for the upcoming midterms? I think with President Trump in office, it's so hard to keep up with all of the wins, all of the successes. Every day, it's something new to celebrate with this administration. Totally different than when Joe Biden was in office. But what predictions do you have for the 2026 midterms? Or is the success of this administration going to trickle down into other races?
Well, if we were on CNN, I would tell you there's not going to be a single Republican in the House and Senate left, but we deal with facts and reality here. So what I would tell you is that compared to 2018, we're in a much better position than we were at that time. Trump's numbers are consistently still better today than they were almost his entire first term. So I do believe that ultimately, it's going to be very close in the House. But the idea that we're on the verge of losing 35, 40 seats is simply not based in any numbers at this point.
All right, Chris Lane, appreciate all your predictions this morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's head back to Terrance in Denver for the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. It's all sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
The applause is already underway at the New York Stock Exchange, which means we're moments away from the bell ringing. Once Upon a Farm is at the podium right now. And just on cue, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The markets are now officially open now that the bell is ringing. Here's a quick look at how things are looking. The Dow and S&P 500 in the green. At the moment, the NASDAQ not looking so hot. We'll, of course, continue to monitor all of this, though, for you throughout the day and keep you updated. Meantime, international disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons why gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. A never-ending list of reasons why smart Americans are also diversifying a portion of their savings into precious metals with the Birch Gold Group. More than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during times of uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you as well. The Birch Gold Group can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Simply text the word America to the number 989898 and receive your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation here, just useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of satisfied customers, allow the Birch Gold Group to help you diversify with gold so that you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty around you. Text the word America to the number 989898. Again, text America to the number 989898. Do so today. Still to come here on American Sunrise, President Trump says immigration enforcement may get a little softer touch after controversy in Minnesota. That is where federal agents were deployed in large numbers following deadly incidents and protests. Well, we'll get the details coming up next.
When the lights go down, the truth comes out.
This is built like a chicken McNugget, but...
This is After Hours with Alex Stein. No filter.
You're a globalist. You don't care about America.
No apologies.
You're a pro-abortion when you should have been aborted.
The undisputed king of trolling.
I was recently sexually assaulted within the metaverse.
I want to vaccinate your mom.
They tried to cancel us.
Deplatforming works.
She wants to kill babies, but she's still beautiful. Look at that booty on AOC. That's my favorite big booty Latina.
Politics, culture, hypocrisy.
They want them to have their penises cut off.
Uncensored and uncontrolled.
Cut your penis off, actually.
That's what I'm saying. They admit they want to cut people's penises off.
Late night just got dangerous. After Hours with Alex Stein. Coming soon to Real America's Voice. There are few things more aggravating than seeing your tax dollars wasted by the government. All too often, when big government tries to save the day, the funds sent around the world to help people in need are diverted by corrupt leaders to line their own pockets, enrich their cronies, or further an agenda that has nothing to do with helping their countrymen. You can do a better job at promoting freedom than any government can. Scan the QR code now or visit atlasnetwork.org/RAV today to join the worldwide freedom movement. With your gift of just $19 a month, we'll send you an Atlas Network exclusive hat. Plus, we'll send the print edition of our Freedom's Champion magazine to your door. We identify, train up, and celebrate local leaders as they work to make freedom a reality across the world. Our partners often risk everything: their reputations, their livelihoods, even their lives to fight for freedom in places where authoritarianism reigns. Visit atlasnetwork.org/RAV or scan the QR code to join our mission to help pro-freedom organizations around the world. Donate $19 a month to receive your exclusive Atlas Network hat. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Terrance Bates. Thanks for joining us this morning. We also want to invite you to join the conversation on Getter, Rumble, YouTube. Let us know what you're thinking. It's now time, though, to take the political pulse of America. And the beat today, well, it has to do with President Trump signaling a shift in tone on immigration enforcement. All of this as his administration defends one of the largest federal operations in U.S. history. In a new interview, the president reflected on the controversial deployment of thousands of federal agents to Minnesota. It's a move that came under intense scrutiny after two deadly confrontations between agents and anti-ICE rapid response groups. President Trump says the events underscored the need for balance. All of this comes after Border Czar Tom Homan announced a 700-person reduction in Minneapolis in staff. Here was the president speaking on that issue on NBC.
Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis, what did you learn?
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch, but you still have to be tough. These are criminals. We're dealing with really hard criminals. But look, I've called the people. I've called the governor. I've called the mayor, spoke to them, had great conversations with them, and then I see them ranting and raving out there, literally as though a call wasn't made.
Joining Emily, Bo, and me right now to add some cowboy logic to this conversation is Donna Fiducia, host of Cowboy Logic here on Real American Voice. Donna, good morning.
Good morning, you guys. You know, the optics aren't great. And that's really the problem when the mainstream media only tells half the story. Thank God for social media. You saw Alex Preddy and Renee Good, all the things that happened before. And he was well known to ICE. So it's amazing, though, how the deep state gets their useful idiots to do their dirty work for them. And that's what's so scary, you guys. Notice, no problem in cities where the mayor and the governor said it was okay for ICE to come in. And it's funny, I didn't realize this. The police take their orders from the mayor and the governor. So if you've got Tim Walz and all the other mayors in Minnesota saying, no, don't cooperate, the police don't cooperate. But look at the cities where the police did cooperate. You've got crime down exponentially. I believe in D.C., I think murders are down 57%. You can't argue with those stats. And quite honestly, guys, I kind of thought that he should have invoked the Insurrection Act. I wanted him to get tougher, but if he wants to go this way, that's fine. But he still needs to be as effective as he was before. Again, the mainstream media doesn't tell you all of the rest of the story. Did they tell you about the illegal alien driving a tractor trailer that killed 4 Amish in a van in a head-on accident earlier this week? I bet you didn't hear about that. I mean, our viewers probably do. But this is the problem. They pick and they choose what they want to force their narrative. And I think a lot of people are getting to the point where they're just not believing it anymore. It's crazy, and they're not believing it with the voting either.
Yeah, Donna, you're so right, because I'm from Memphis, and I haven't lived there in a long time, but my mom still lives there. And you look at a place like that where there was cooperation, and you do see a reduction in crime, because unfortunately Memphis is a town, I hate to say it, that has been privy to a lot of crime. And so when you have the cooperation, like you said, you actually see a reduction in that crime. Don, I do want to shift your focus in the interest of time to Fulton County election officials who are continuing to press hard against the FBI. Earlier this week, county commissioners announced they are seeking the return of materials related to the 2020 presidential election seized by the FBI last week. This comes despite concerns raised at a recent hearing. Take a look at this.
And we start talking about election integrity. That's a major, major thing for anybody. I don't care about a Democrat. I don't care about a Republican. I care about election integrity. Stop blaming people. People always complain about politics and everything like that. Politics does not trickle down from the president. Stop blaming the president for everything.
True, Donna, all politics are local. What's your take?
Yeah, well, it shows that both Democrat, Republican, and independents want election integrity to the tune of over 70%. In many cases, like 95% when it comes to Republicans. The problem, what happened in Fulton County, and I think I'm afraid that this is going to be the case, they've had 5 years to do whatever they want with the ballots. And unfortunately, the ballots are the real thing that's going to hold up in court. And we've had 2 elections ever since. What really could be looked at is the down ballot, unfortunately, which I think would show across the country a lot more congressional and Senate seats. But also the 2024 ballots are still there. They need to be held for 22 months. The problem is it all falls back on the Secretary of State. And who's that? Brad Raffensperger. So the fox is watching the hen house. I bet they want those materials returned. But the problem is, where are the ballots? Do they have the ballots? We'll have to wait and see.
Donna, always good to see you. Appreciate it. All right, tell folks really quickly what they can expect on the show this weekend. I want to come to the barn party, baby.
Well, North Carolina Senate candidate Don Brown, endorsed by Sidney Powell and General Flynn. He's got to win in North Carolina, folks. A very strong candidate. But we also have J6er Derek Vargo. He's making his debut on Cowboy Logic. Who's Derek Vargo? He is the guy who was pushed off the ledge by the Capitol Police. This is unbelievable. He's speaking out finally after 5 years. All on Cowboy Logic this week, and you see it there, 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, and again on Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see you in the barn party.
There you go. Donna, always good to see you. Give Don a big old hug for me, as I know you will.
Will do.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Let's change gears a little bit. Time now to hear from you, our viewers. Joining us now with the RAV chat room report is RAV family member and chat room dweller, Carefree Largo. I simply call him Care because he does care. Always good to see you, my brother. How are you? Good morning.
I'm doing well, Terrance. How are you? Thank you for having me this morning.
Always a pleasure. So what do you have for us?
Well, you know, Super Bowl Sunday is almost here, and the other day, Emily Finn asked our viewers what they thought of the Bad Bunny halftime show, and one of our original Ravagers, the one and only Flashosaurus, jumped right in saying the NFL decision makers have caved to the Destroy America lobby, and I think he might be right. G.I. Ryan 777 said the NFL has gone woke. What a shame. And I think everyone agrees with that. But Jimmy Ballinger hit it right on the head, saying that he is totally watching TPUSA halftime show on RAV. And the RAV chat family will be there with you. We totally agree. It's going to be right here on RAV, and we cannot wait. That's going to prove to be a lot of fun, I think.
Absolutely.
Terrance, so concerning Tom Holman,
yes,
I noticed you guys mentioned Tom Holman just a second ago, and in the chat this past week, there was a lot of talk concerning his decision to draw down the number of his people there in Minneapolis, and it was kind of divided. Whereas Bowser Roadkill, one of our favorites in chat, said, no, Tom, don't do it. He did not want to see that number come down. He was more with Donna. He wanted to see it ramped up. Whereas Jean Annie in the chat, who is, again, one of our favorites, she took a different tone, saying, hooray, it will give the people a chance to breathe. And I think you can probably see both sides of that story. However, inasmuch as it comes to Sharia law coming to the United States, which is all part of the Minneapolis conversation now, we had one viewer, Miss Chat, Mrs. Snap, in the chats who was salient. She said, I refuse to follow any law that glorifies the removal of women's rights, allowing pedophiles to harm our most precious gift, our children. I will only follow the Constitution of the United States of America, founded on Christian values, standing up against the cult of Islam. It's a strong statement, but I think an awful lot of people in our chat back that statement up. At the end of the day, we are all praying for the city of Minneapolis, our nation, and God's plans, his divine will for each and every one of us as we move forward. I also noticed you were playing the commercials earlier from Mr. Alex Stein, and I got to tell you, social media was extremely excited to see After Hours with Alex Stein and his unique take and hilarious take, I might say, on American life. KT in the chat said it is the perfect After Hours show for Real America's Voice. Dark seconded that, said this show is great. But best of all, my buddy Drawbridge in the Getter chat said, I cannot imagine Carefree being able to quote from the After Hours chat on American Sunrise. But brother, there you go. We just did it. Just another way of saying that it is a very new, unique offering. And if you long for the days of old-fashioned late-night talk shows, tune in tonight. I think you'll be very excited to see the new Alex Stein show. It's going to be a big hit.
How about Amazon Prime? I like it, just my ego likes it, because now I can be seen not just on our app or some of the other streaming services, but come on, baby, I've made it big. Mama, we going to Disneyland. I made it to Amazon Prime. Talk about that.
Boy, that is huge. Now you can see all of Real America's Voice content, about 20 hours of live content each and every day on Amazon Prime Live. All you have to do is click on Live, go to News, and look up Real America's Voice. It is fantastic, and it's available just anywhere you are.
Prime Video is where you can go to find us, and then you can get more of your Carefree Largo doses as well. Care, always good to see you, my brother. What you got going on this weekend? Please stay warm. I hear it's a little chilly out there in Florida.
Hey, it's a little cool here in Florida. We're going to try and stay warm. Remember that God loves us, and remember this before you walk out into that cold weather. You're never completely dressed until you put on your smile. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for having us again.
And Care, you always put a smile on my face. Love you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Love you, brother. We'll see you soon.
All right, we'll talk soon. Coming up, we're going to be giving you an inside look at the new release by Real America's Music. Singer-songwriter Natasha Owens will join us to talk about that right after this break.
I shouted out Thunder Road. I used to believe you sang for me in those glory.
There are few things more aggravating than seeing your tax dollars wasted by the government. All too often, when big government tries to save the day, the funds sent around the world to help people in need are diverted by corrupt leaders to line their own pockets, enrich their cronies, or further an agenda that has nothing to do with helping their countrymen. You can do a better job at promoting freedom than any government can. Scan the QR code now or visit atlasnetwork.org/RAV today to join the worldwide freedom movement. With your gift of just $19 a month, we'll send you an Atlas Network exclusive hat. Plus, we'll send the print edition of our Freedom's Champion magazine to your door. We identify, train up, and celebrate local leaders as they work to make freedom a reality across the world. Our partners often risk everything: their reputations, their livelihoods, even their lives to fight for freedom in places where authoritarianism reigns. Visit atlasnetwork.org/RAV or scan the QR code to join our mission to help pro-freedom organizations around the world. Donate $19 a month to receive your exclusive Atlas Network hat. Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
Followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, There's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light.
Let's spill some tea.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. Let's Spill Some Tea is sponsored by Artillery Tea Company, the veteran-owned patriotic tea brand delivering premium whole leaf tea and biodegradable sachets that brew twice as strong. Patriots, if you love great tea on your terms, check out Patriots Brew Club for automatic shipments that you control. Now, you can cancel or swap flavors anytime with no commitments at all. You'll also get free shipping on every order, tiered discounts up to 20%, and free milestone rewards along the way. Brew strong, stay patriotic. Head to artilleryteaco.com right now and click Join the Patriots Brew Club to get started. And of course, now it's time to spill some tea. And in the cup today, the new song from Real America's Music. The newest release dropped last night at midnight. Here's a very special preview.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
Joining us now with more is chart-topping recording artist and patriotic powerhouse Natasha Owens. Natasha, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Well, tell us what inspired The Boss. I think we know what Bruce Springsteen put out. People are relatively aware of that. Give us the backstory and what inspired you to put out The Boss.
You know, for decades, Bruce gave a voice to the working Americans, the factory worker, the veteran, the forgotten man. That's why songs like Born in the USA resonated so deeply. But working Americans are now living with the consequences of lawlessness in their communities. You know, Bruce's earlier music centered around people and not ideology. Today, it feels like its ideology comes first and the victims are an afterthought. You know, ICE isn't just ICE is not a political slogan. It is law enforcement. And when we inhibit them to be able to do their jobs, innocent people get hurt. But he wants to put the victims of the Minneapolis street chaos in there. He doesn't talk about victims like Laken Riley, are all the ones that have been killed by illegal immigrants that should not be allowed into this country. They need to go back. And so people ask me, why did I do this particular song? I was so stirred up last week when I heard Bruce's song, because music has always been where working Americans have heard themselves be reflected. When reflection disappears, the other side needs to be brought. The other story needs to be brought. So I hope this song brings the other side of it and does a realization to Bruce. It probably won't wake him up, but he needs to be shaken a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, I listened to Streets of Minneapolis, Natasha, and I think it's a shame because, and this is just one man's opinion, but I thought it was not a great song. I thought it was poorly written. I thought it was poorly sung by someone who used to be influential, as you said, used to be the voice of the working man. I actually liked Streets of Philadelphia back in the day, but Bruce, to me, has let us down musically speaking and spiritually speaking. Would you agree with that?
He sure has. He has decided to hitch his post to criminals, to the LGBTQ, to anything that is anti-American and anti-God at this point. And I'm very disappointed. I used to be a fan, and so I know a lot of fans of Bruce Springsteen, former fans. And so this song really resonates with them because it gives them a voice. You know, they feel frustrated when they hear a song like Minneapolis Streets. So I give them the words to be able to sing it. And with a little bit of fun. He said he put this out in like 24 hours, and it showed. I thought it was a very poor production. But we also put ours out within 24 hours, too, so you can really tell the difference.
Yeah, and I just want to ask you, Natasha, based on The Boss that you just released and Somali Waltz as an example, do you expect to release more, I don't know if you want to call them pushback songs, awareness type of songs? Do you anticipate as the news cycle changes that you'll do more of those?
That's kind of where it's leading. Things get so ridiculous in the news cycle that you just can't make it up. And we sit back and somebody needs to say something. And so we didn't expect when we put out Somali Waltz 2 weeks ago to turn around and release another one. But the other side, the Democrats always give us plenty of ammunition and plenty of topics. So stay tuned. Who knows what we're going to do next week?
All right. Well, thank you, Natasha, so much. We actually have some breaking news now. We want to take you to Pam Bondi right now on screen. Let's take a look.
He's deeply grateful for the relentless efforts of the Department of Justice and the FBI to bring justice to the individual allegedly responsible for the death of Americans in the horrific 2012 Benghazi attack. CIA and the nation will never forget the extraordinary services and sacrifices of Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty, who gave their lives in defense of others and exemplified the very best of our agency. I'd now like to turn it over to Director Patel for remarks, and I again want to thank him for his relentless work in this case.
General, thank you. And I want to steal one of your lines. Never forget. Pam never forgot, the president never forgot, this FBI never forgot, and certainly U.S. Attorney Pirro never forgot. When an act of terrorism of this magnitude strikes at the heart of our nation, we go to work. President Trump has given us the full resources at the FBI and across the interagency to make sure we deliver justice. And Pam, you're right. Dan and I did sit down early on about this to bring justice, but you led the effort. You brought together the interagency. You said we are going to get this done because no one agency alone can do it. So we are thankful to have an Attorney General at the Department of Justice who works together with every single cabinet secretary and enforce the law. What you saw today, and I want to get, or what you're going to see today, I want to address in a minute, but I want to remind the folks out there the work of this Department of Justice. We were here just a few short months ago talking about how we were going to raise the RFJ for another violent offender on the run, Ryan Wedding. And what did we do under Attorney General's leadership? And what did we do when President Trump said, go get the worst of the worst? We captured him. We captured together, under President Trump's leadership, 6 of the FBI's most wanted fugitives in 1 calendar year. To put that in perspective, that is 2 more than the entirety of the prior administration. And you cannot do that alone at the FBI. You have to have an Attorney General and a Department of Justice willing to prosecute, willing to go to the 4 corners of the earth and make sure we deliver justice. And that's what we're doing here today. I was at the airfield with U.S. Attorney Pirro earlier this morning when we did the formal foreign transfer of custody of Bakush into U.S. custody to face prosecution under her auspices and her office. And the Department of Justice are going to execute justice for the fallen. As a young prosecutor at CTS in the National Security Division, I worked on the Benghazi case. This was very near and dear and personal to me. We lost 4 brave Americans in Chris, Sean, Kyle, and Steve. And we can never, ever, ever forget them. Ever. And we will not. In order to put something like this together, it doesn't happen overnight. The FBI's hostage rescue team, the FBI's critical incident response group, our special flight operations unit, and countless others, along with the agents in the New York field office who never forgot Benghazi and never let the world forget it, endured over a decade to bring yet another terrorist who killed 4 Americans to justice. That is a relentless pursuit of mission. That can only happen when you have an interagency who's willing to get after it. I'm extremely thankful to the CIA and Director Ratcliffe and our other law enforcement partners for making sure that the world knows that if you kill an American citizen in an act of terrorism, we will hunt you down. We will bring you to justice, and you will face justice here in America, not in another court and not in any other proceeding around the world, but here. You killed our own, so we are going to take it to the streets to make sure you are held accountable. Once again, I'd really like to thank the entirety of the FBI, headquarters divisions. There are so many moving pieces to actually execute a foreign transfer of custody. And now we're talking about the 7th, the 3rd in just a couple of weeks. And I don't know if that has ever happened before in U.S. history. It's happening because President Trump backs the blue. President Trump has given law enforcement the resources we need to take the fight across the world. And the Attorney General has been relentless in her mission to make sure that these victims are remembered and that we bring them some semblance of peace.